flying out at 6 o'clock to go to Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
He'll be back in the morning.
He will be in the morning?
I understand.
Okay, thanks.
Try to be careful. I just figured it was hard to wear. No.
Clerk has a message from the Senate.
A message from the Senate by the clerk. The Senate announces the adoption by the Senate without amendment of House Concurrent Resolution 1, inviting His Excellency the Governor,
the legislature, and raising a joint assembly therefore.
That to be received. Chair recognizes the doorkeeper.
Mr. Speaker, Ray Tomlin and the West Virginia Senate. Mr. Speaker, this West Virginia Supreme Court of Appeals. Mr. Speaker, the West Virginia Board of Public Works. Chair recognizes the doorkeeper.
We stopped by your office. We stopped by your office.
Chair recognizes the doorkeeper.
Mr. Speaker, the committee to escort His Excellency, the Governor of the great state of West Virginia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of your Escort Committee and the Escort Committee of the West Virginia State Senate, it's my privilege to introduce the Governor of the great state of West Virginia, the Honorable Bob Wine.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good. Thank you. Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, members of the Board of Public Works, justices of the Supreme Court of Appeals, members of the legislature, distinguished guests, and my fellow West Virginians. Mr. Speaker, before I begin, I want to take a moment to recognize a man who sat where you are sitting tonight. Former House Speaker Lou McManus committed his life and dedicated his energies to promote all things that advanced West Virginia. His character as a public servant was unfaltering, and his love for life and our state was immeasurable. Lou passed away last month. He would be in this chamber tonight otherwise. I ask all of you tonight for a moment of silence as we remember this great speaker and great citizen of West Virginia. Thank you. Last year, as we gathered in this chamber, the shock and horror of September the 11th were fresh in our minds. Smoke was still rising from the ruins of the World Trade Center. Our skies are clearer today. We have shown that our spirit cannot be crushed. And we have shown that whatever divides us, we will unite and fight when our nation is at risk. On the podium displayed behind me tonight are the colors of many West Virginia military units. Last year at this time, I told you that these would remain posted in this Capitol for as long as the men and women of these units remain on duty in defense of our nation. West Virginia National Guard and Reserve units have served around the world and around the country this year. Even this week, more West Virginians have been activated for duty. Their commander, Adjutant General Alan Tackett, cannot be here tonight because he is recovering from surgery. But you and I know that he is watching, and we send him the thanks of all West Virginians for what he and his soldiers are doing. And we owe a special debt of thanks to our own Brigadier General Wayne Speedy Lloyd, who served as commander of an international air base in Kyrgyzstan with troops from 8 allied nations for a large part of this year. This is the first time in U.S. Air Force history that a guardsman has commanded an air expeditionary wing deployed overseas. General Lloyd, will you please stand and accept our state's gratitude? Ladies and gentlemen, many West Virginians served the cause of freedom. Last year, 2 proud West Virginians lost their lives in combat in Afghanistan to protect us and the values we hold dear. I ask you to allow me the honor of speaking their names and join me in a moment of silence to reflect upon what they have done for us. Staff Sergeant Gene Arden Vance of the West Virginia National Guard, and Staff Sergeant Anissa Ann Shuttleworth Shiro of the United States Air Force. We remember them. There are 2 other brave West Virginians I would like to recognize tonight. Trooper First Class Robert J. Ellswick of the West Virginia State Police was shot in the head recently in the line of duty. He spent more than a month in a hospital. Doctors gave him little chance to live. But he's a tough West Virginia trooper, and he fought back. And I'm happy to report to you tonight that he is alive and improving at a rehabilitation center, and our prayers are with him every day. I ask that you also remember Sergeant Scott Paul, who was critically injured as well in the line of duty when a driver crossed the center line and hit his cruiser head on. He also is recovering at home, and we wish him well. When West Virginians make such sacrifices in our behalf, it places a burden on all of our shoulders. We owe it to them to create a state and a nation deserving of the loyalty and fidelity that they have shown. We have taken West Virginia far in the past 2 years, and we face many challenges as we look forward. But we cannot falter, we cannot turn back, and we cannot lose sight of what the people of West Virginia elected us to do: strengthen the minds and characters of our children, create jobs to give people the tools to create economic success, and provide for the health and safety of us all. The economic challenges that have been with us from the very start of this administration have forced us to cut spending again and again. And across the United States, governors and legislators are wrestling with billion-dollar deficits, dwindling revenues, and increasing demands for services. We will face this challenge this year in this legislative session, and we will emerge with a leaner, more effective state government. The budget I am presenting tonight will be balanced. It cuts spending. It contains no general tax increase. This budget includes spending cuts that total more than $200 million. Just like the families in West Virginia, we've had to tighten our belts in these difficult economic times. And we're concentrating on our priorities: jobs, education, and health care, and moving in an effective way towards meeting these realistic goals. Working together, my administration and this legislature have accomplished much for our people. We fought hard for jobs and working families. We are investing more than $200 million in new economic development grants that will generate more than $1 billion in new and expanded projects, creating thousands of jobs. Last year, we completely rewrote our business tax incentives, making it easier to invest in job creation in West Virginia. Our new research and development tax credit program is already attracting cutting-edge industries, and our new venture capital initiative passed last year can translate into hundreds of millions of dollars in new investments. Private enterprise, working with us with the leadership of Senator Robert C. Byrd and the rest of our congressional delegation, and with our colleges and universities, has made West Virginia the Silicon Valley of biometric technology. Technology that will improve the safety and security of every American and bring good paying jobs to West Virginia. We are investing in the future at the Blanchette Rockefeller Neurosciences Institute, established by our own United States Senator Jay Rockefeller, a West Virginia-based enterprise that is breaking new scientific ground in tracing the root causes of Alzheimer's disease and exploring new treatments. And last year at this time, our steel industry was teetering on the brink of extinction because of unfair foreign dumping. My economic development SWAT team helped arrange an emergency loan to Wheeling Pittsburgh Steel to save some of our state's best manufacturing jobs. Today, thousands of workers are making steel 24 hours a day at Wheeling Pitt. Orders are up and pensions are being paid on schedule. The SWAT team has been busy elsewhere. They've been actively involved in many job retention efforts all over the state. And as a result, thousands of West Virginians are still working today. We have created 4,500 other new jobs in communities across West Virginia in a time of economic downturn. But that's not enough. I'm fighting every day to attract investments to create jobs. My administration's top priority is to ensure that every West Virginian will have the opportunity to work in a good, paying, secure job. I will never stop fighting for this. Working together, you and I, we made education a top priority. We provided 3,500 promised scholars an opportunity to go to college. This year's freshman class is larger than ever. And this year, with the promised scholarship, 25% more of our best qualified students are staying at home in West Virginia. And last year, our public school teachers received one of the largest pay raises in the history of West Virginia and the second highest percentage increase in the nation. Our teachers and school service personnel are fantastic people. They care about the children, they work hard, and they make our schools special places. We started a tradition here in this chamber 2 years ago that we continue tonight. We recognize one teacher who does it so well, one teacher who stands for the thousands of others, our State Teacher of the Year. Our teacher this year is from West Milford Elementary School in Harrison County. She's well loved there. In addition to our thanks, 2 West Virginia companies, their representatives are seated in the chamber tonight, have recognized her work. She will receive a $5,000 award from Mountain State Blue Cross Blue Shield and the use of a 2003 Toyota from Toyota of West Virginia. It gives me great pleasure to present to you our State Teacher of the Year, Mary Kay DeVono. I also want to acknowledge all the parents and teachers who work with our youngest children on building the reading skills that form the foundation of education. I'd like to recognize one of those parents specifically. I know her pretty well. First Lady Sandy Wise has been traveling the state talking to parents and caregivers about the importance of reading and talking to children early and often with her love to learn message. Sandy, thank you and all the parents in West Virginia for what you are doing. Working together, you and I, we now require character education in every school in the state because we believe it's just as important to teach our children right from wrong as it is reading and writing. We provided a $2.3 million to Marshall and West Virginia University for research to improve lives and lay the foundation for the knowledge-based economy our children deserve. And we put more than $10 million towards research parks in university cities to capture the jobs that research creates. We provided the largest number and amount of needs-based college scholarships in West Virginia history. And we've worked to keep our state healthy. In the past, West Virginia has had to turn back available federal funds because we didn't reach enough children with the Children Health Insurance Program. But we've made covering each child a priority and provided health care to a record 36,000 West Virginia children in a year. And I'm proud to announce that for the first time, not one dime of unused federal money goes back to Washington this year. Working together last year, we provided state-sponsored medical liability insurance to West Virginia physicians and hospitals when their insurance companies abandon them. By the end of this month, we will be covering 1,000 doctors who would have been forced to leave our state if we had not acted. And we are also providing needed coverage to 28 hospitals and health facilities. We established a prescription purchasing pool with 3 other states, and that will lower the prices on brand name prescription drugs and save $25 million over the next 3 years. We added a new drug discount plan to the Golden Mountaineer Card, and West Virginia seniors have already saved $4 million on their prescriptions. And for our veterans, we are ready to break ground this spring as soon as the federal part of the funding is assured for the $24 million Clarksburg Veterans Nursing Home. In 2002, last year, I asked you for added financial support to improve safety in our coal mines. You provided it, and the results are encouraging. Last year, we had the safest year in our mines in recent history. West Virginians pulled together to recover from natural disaster, and you and I were there. The legislature, the administration, and the people of southern West Virginia were there to help. We vowed to rebuild flooded communities, and we're doing it. And this time, we're building flood-proof housing. Nearly 600 families have relocated to safe, dry housing out of the floodplain. And many of these homes are on reclaimed surface mines. There will soon be another 100 housing lots opened in Premier in McDowell County. And there I've directed the construction of a community center so that these strong West Virginia families will have a place to gather as they build their new community. And with your help, we're putting flooded businesses back in operation. We've issued nearly 1,000 forgivable loans and microloans and helped hundreds of businesses rebuild, restock, and reestablish the vital services that every community must have. And we're working with local governments to plan a better future for communities hit by flooding. Last year I announced in this chamber West Virginia Rise, a comprehensive program to improve life in southern West Virginia for decades to come. Already, we have coordinated economic development tools such as land use planning in several counties and making land outside the floodplain available for development. I'm proud of what you and I have accomplished in the first half of this administration. Out of adversity, we have created opportunity. In times of crisis, we, working together, have provided leadership. The challenges we face for the next 2 years will be every bit as hard. We face a real budget crisis in the state government. We have unfinished work in developing our economy, educating our people, and ensuring our health care. Last year, because of sound fiscal management, West Virginia was one of only 7 states to show a surplus. But we are not immune from the national economy that has resulted in growing budget shortfalls for almost every state. But make no mistake, we can't look to Washington to bail us out. We're going to have to change the way we do business in West Virginia. Tonight, I have placed before you a budget that begins a bold restructuring of state government in West Virginia. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you many months ago that the funds available for the 2003-2004 budget year would not be enough to cover the predicted cost in the growth of government. We began unprecedented discussions with your legislative finance staff, and I want to thank the Speaker and the Senate President, for making that possible. We began those discussions months ago, earlier than any governor has done before, to prepare for this challenge. I asked every branch of state government, without exception, to review all their plans and programs and to develop the upcoming budget based on a 10% reduction below this year's spending level. We're going to start cutting at the top. The governor's office is not exempt. We will also cut our budget in the governor's office by at least 10%. This budget proposes a smaller governor's cabinet, eliminating the post of Commerce Commissioner and combining the posts of Secretary of Tax and Revenue and Secretary of Administration. This is not just a matter of shuffling boxes around on a chart or eliminating a few administrative salaries. We are combining many of the overlapping functions and duties of the agencies and sub-agencies under these posts to create real savings. I have also requested that we merge the Governor's Office of Technology with the Office of Information Services and Communications. We spend millions on technology. It's simply not coordinated anywhere near as well as it should be. We're going to serve our children better by coordinating the maze of overlapping children's programs in state government. We are now operating 257 separately funded programs for kids and families, many underfunded and unable to fully meet the needs of the families they serve. We must combine the Governor's Cabinet on Children and Families and the West Virginia Bureau of Children and Families, sounds like a good mix, into a single agency that gives families one-stop access to assistance in meeting children's needs. I asked a year ago that state agencies cut their fleets. Let me be frank, I've not been satisfied with the results. There are still far too many state cars on the road. So West Virginia, get ready for the largest surplus car sale ever. Bob's easy terms. Drive in today, don't delay, drive it away. Effective today, I have signed an executive order reducing the vehicle fleet by 15% by March 31st. We will place a freeze on new purchases, and we will cut the fleet by an additional 10% next year. Start bringing in the keys. Let me take a moment to thank the state's public employees for their response to all of this. I asked for their help. They have responded overwhelmingly. Our special public employees website has already received more than 700 suggestions for how to run state government better. The single most common suggestion from state employees was to cut vehicle waste. We have a state employee with us tonight who gave us one of those suggestions. She's an engineer in the Division of Highways. We're going to take her suggestion and make it our policy. Christy Cole of Raleigh County, please stand as we thank you and all the public employees who are helping restructure state government. Yes, we will do steep budget cuts this year. But this crisis forces us to do what all of us know must be done, to restructure state government to make it operate more effectively and efficiently. Because if all we do is merely cut the budget, we have failed. Every business must review its operations at least every 5 years. It's time state government does the same. When I met in a satellite town meeting with 2,500 of our public employees recently, they understood. It's not a question of if we change. The only issue now is how and when. And I say, now. The people of West Virginia have demanded, loud and clear, that we not allow the budget crisis to distract us from solving some long-standing challenges. For many years, it has been a mark of pride to have a doctor in the family. We're proud of and appreciative of the doctors in our extended family of West Virginians. We're proud of the men and women who mend our wounds, bring our children into the world, ease the pain and suffering of our loved ones, are always there for us. The hard work and commitment of our physicians makes our state a much better place to live. My number one commitment is to the health and safety of the citizens of West Virginia. We must guarantee that every West Virginian has access to the doctors he or she needs, and every West Virginia doctor has access to reasonably priced medical malpractice insurance. The proposal I put before you tonight addresses both the tort system and the terrible economic pressures created when the national insurance companies jacked up prices and when they abandoned doctors who had paid premiums for decades. This proposal levels the playing field, so our doctors have the same protections as doctors in other states, but still retains fairness for patients who are truly injured by medical mistakes. We must set reasonable caps, varying with the severity of injury, on awards for pain and suffering. I will propose a base cap of $250,000 with a sliding scale similar to that recently adopted in Ohio. We must hold people responsible only for their share of injuries that they cause. We must protect our trauma care system by setting a $500,000 cap on liability for medical providers, including doctors and emergency workers. We must take into account all payments made to an injured party so that no one is unduly enriched or paid twice for one injury. It's time to set partisan politics aside. The bill I place before you today addresses each of these issues. Tort reform is one part of the solution. It is not the only part. Affordable insurance is the other. If you do tort reform without an economic package, you won't accomplish very much. Last year, we brought nearly 1,000 doctors into the state-supported insurance program. That is not sufficient. We can't leave the fate of our health system in the hands of insurance companies who know little and have cared even less for the health of West Virginians. So tonight I am placing before you a proposal to create a $20 million fund supported by the tobacco settlement to offset for 3 years the costs of continuing medical liability protection for doctors who are forced to switch from private insurance carriers to the state-provided Board of Risk and Insurance Management. Our experienced doctors are being punished for a crisis they did not create. This fund will assist those who want to remain in practice. We're also opening our coverage to other doctors who need more affordable and dependable coverage and who want to take advantage of this assistance. There will be added help for doctors who remain with private insurers. Let me take this moment to speak directly to our state's doctors. Everyone comes to this chamber tonight in good faith. The time for acrimony, challenging each other, even raising arguments is over. We all understand the problem, and we're all dedicated to resolving it. Right now, the state of West Virginia guarantees that every qualified doctor will be covered by malpractice insurance. Pass my legislation, and that insurance just became much more affordable. When combined with the tort reforms passed last year, reforms that preliminary surveys indicate already are causing a reduction in suits being filed, and the legislation that kept 1,000 doctors practicing in West Virginia, our proposals will make West Virginia a state that has economic incentives for doctors to stay, to start new practices, and to build careers and families. The health of tens of thousands of West Virginians is at stake. I urge this legislature to put this bill at the very top of its agenda. We can get this done. We have other health issues to address. Tobacco remains the biggest single threat to the health of West Virginians. We are making strides in tobacco prevention, but for decades we have ignored the best weapon in this fight, the tobacco tax. The cigarette tax has remained unchanged since 1978. It's just 17 cents a pack, one of the lowest in the nation. That 17 cents doesn't even begin to cover the health costs to West Virginia taxpayers that are generated by each pack of tobacco sold, let alone the misery caused by heart and lung disease and cancer, all related to smoking. This budget has no increases in income tax, in sales tax or business taxes, but increasing the tobacco tax will have the dual effect of discouraging smoking, especially among our children, and helping balance some of the costs imposed on all of us by the effects of smoking. I am proposing an increase in the West Virginia cigarette tax to 55 cents per pack, which is about the average paid by smokers in other states. Every single penny of this tax will be dedicated towards health care, and by applying it towards federally matched programs, this money will help us avoid a $300 million shortfall. Let me repeat that again. A $300 million shortfall this year alone in health care. There will be powerful forces at work against this proposal. There is no alternative. If you don't pass this, you will have to cut $300 million from the health budget this year alone. Ladies and gentlemen, that's nursing home care, that's senior citizen care, that's prescription drugs, that's children's health programs, and it's hundreds of health care jobs. Pass this bill. West Virginia senior citizens also have an issue that can't wait, a health issue. We must do even more to restrain the runaway costs of prescription drugs. No West Virginian should have to choose between food and medicine or should be forced to skip pills to make a prescription last until the next Social Security check arrives. We're taking on the big brand name prescription drug manufacturers, and we're fighting for discounts on prescriptions. And this year, I will continue negotiating with those prescription drug manufacturers and to maintain and hopefully expand the savings available with the Golden Mountaineer Card. We will continue and expand the program that helps doctors choose less costly generic medicines instead of heavily advertised brand name drugs. Now, there's several steps that we can take this year to help West Virginia families that won't cost money. Want to hear about those? I have asked this legislature twice before to toughen our drunk driving law. We must adopt the .08 alcohol level as proof of impairment. We have waited too long, and too many lives already have been lost. If we don't act this year, we will also lose something else. More than $2.5 million in federal funds that go into our highway program. That's money that can be used for a lot of paving. And there's something else we must do while we're talking about safety. We must enact an ATV safety bill in this session. I'm the first governor to call for this legislation. Too many young people have been killed or crippled, and the time to act is now. We must also change our adoption laws to allow parents who adopt children in other countries to bring them to West Virginia without facing extra sets of bureaucratic barriers. And also look at our existing system to see where we can make it easier for parents adopting anywhere. Our state police are our main line of defense against those who break the law and against threats to our public safety in times of crisis and disaster. We have trooper shortages across our state. Only one county has 24-hour state police protection. This year, we invited 1,200 recruits to test for appointment to the state police. And so we will start not one, but 2 classes of over 70 officers in the next month. I have directed another class to start this year as well. And I have also included $1 million in this budget to begin addressing a long-standing fairness issue for our younger troopers by upgrading the Plan B Trooper Retirement Plan. We must not let the budget crisis derail the progress we have made in public and higher education in West Virginia. Education is still the centerpiece of our economic development plan and still the key to our future. We insist on teaching our children values. We insist on emphasizing character. And in return, we promise quality education and opportunities for every child and every young person and every adult with a desire to learn. I have exempted both the Promise Scholarship and the West Virginia Higher Education Grant Program from budget cuts. We will keep the promise we made to the next generation. In the audience with us tonight are 4 members of the first class of Promise Scholars. These 4 young people represent the brightest hope we have for the future of our state. I'm going to ask each of them to stand as I call their name. Katie Molinari is a graduate of Parkersburg South High School in Wood County and is a freshman at West Virginia University. Justin Gore is a graduate of St. Albans High School in Kanawha County and is a freshman at Marshall University. Lindsay Weimer is a graduate of Pendleton County High School and is a freshman at West Virginia University. Bridget Fuller is a graduate of Yeager High School in McDowell County and is a freshman at Marshall University. They represent 3,500 Promise Scholars who are about to begin the second semester of their college education. Next year, there will be more. Please join me in recognizing West Virginia's future. West Virginia in the past decade has moved from the rear to the front among the nation's leaders in education in grades kindergarten through 12, both in terms of resources and in terms of results. Since 1993, we've had the third largest increase among the states in per capita spending for education, a 36% increase in 10 years. We've spent the money well. Better schools, better paid educators, better programs, and we're reaping the rewards. And as we face a tighter budget, we cannot retreat from this progress because it is the one best hope we have of creating a better future for West Virginia. It is such a priority for me that grades K through 12 education will not be reduced, even as we make cuts elsewhere. We are not taking $1 away from teachers and students in public education. And in fact, our K through 12 public education budget is higher than ever before. We've also been helping parents with school costs. Last year, this legislature endorsed, for just 1 year, my back-to-school sales tax holiday. It gives parents a break on clothing and educational supplies for kids in the fall. It was a rousing success and even brought shoppers from other states to spend their money in West Virginia stores. I ask you to continue that sales tax holiday this year. Now let's talk about growth. Other states are cutting back on schools, cutting back on roads, cutting back on investments in infrastructure. Don't count West Virginia in that pack. We will put hundreds of millions of dollars this year into schools, roads, housing, water, and sewers. And we'll do it with the help of our economic development grants and our other programs. We'll do it with the federal funds secured by Senator Byrd and Senator Rockefeller and Representatives Nick Joe Rahal, Alan Mollahan, and Shelley Moore Capito. We will do it with the assistance and investment of the private sector. Others may cut back. This year, West Virginia will invest nearly $2 billion into infrastructure and job creation. Some may say step back. We say move forward. Investment and job creation are the real answers to the problems we are facing today. You can cut this pie umpteen times, but what it gets down to is you need an expanding pie. We have to create jobs, to create economic opportunity, to make West Virginia the state that people look to when they invest, when they decide where to live, and when they decide where to raise their children. I will fight every day throughout my career to create good paying jobs for West Virginians. That's my #1 job. This year, we're going to add even more tools to our job creation toolbox. The West Virginia Housing Development Fund, which has helped thousands of West Virginia families own their own homes, has developed at my request a $28 million economic development program, the first of its kind. Additionally, the West Virginia Economic Development Authority loans money to businesses. Now, the current limit on a total loan package is, for all projects, is $150 million, a limit that has been reached. That's the good news. We're helping lots of new businesses, but we can't stop now. If we want to be in the running for the next generation of manufacturing plants and new economy enterprises, we need to raise that limit to $175 million, and I ask you to do so without delay. We've got projects right now that we can move if we can finance them. And thanks to an unprecedented partnership between business and labor that, if you recall, I announced last year in this chamber, we can now offer tax increment financing to new and expanded businesses. The All-for-One Committee united labor leaders like Jim Bowen, Kenny Perdue, and Steve White with business leaders like Paul Arbogast, Dana Waldo, and Mike Basile. I ask them to stand and accept our thanks for what they have done to bring us together. Ladies and gentlemen, working together is the only way it really works. The Business-Labor Partnership is also alive and active in our pursuit of the Vision Shared initiative. We know this works, and we will ask these partners to work together on another crucial initiative this year, eliminating the workers' compensation problems that affect our competitiveness. I consider the problems in workers' compensation, this challenge, every bit as critical as the ones I have previously discussed. I want to thank the business and labor leaders here as well as across the state because they have formally agreed to come together to help solve this problem once and for all. They recognize that workers' compensation issues make West Virginia less likely to attract investment. And I welcome the opportunity to work with the members of this legislature in solving this problem. We have already identified and will implement administrative changes that will save West Virginia businesses $135 million each and every year. We must eliminate the second injury fund that is the cause of almost three-quarters of our $2 billion plus unfunded liability. We must create a deficit reduction account safe from raids by future legislatures and governors to guarantee that premiums paid to reduce the debt are used only for debt reduction. 2 years ago, I ended this speech by handing 2 large bound books of legislation and budget documents to the Speaker and to the Senate President. This was the first time in my memory that the Governor had ever presented all the legislative agenda on the opening day. I do this because I know that you need time to work on legislation and because I believe in the urgency of working hard and fast on the real issues that face us from day one of the legislative session. Now, last year, we condensed the budget and the bills to 2 tiny CDs, compact discs, and gave them to each member of the legislature on the first day. We've made this a tradition. This year, we're going a step further. The executive budget and my legislative proposals are being transferred as I speak to your email accounts. They are also being delivered electronically to the press, the state agencies, and many citizens. We're saving a ton of paper and printing and postage costs in the process. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got mail, and we've got work to do. We have a historic opportunity this year. We must show that we are worthy of the trust the citizens of this state have placed in our hands. We were sent to this capital to make difficult decisions. We need to keep our doctors, get care for our children, and secure affordable medicine and medical care for everyone who needs it. We will. We need to help businesses grow. We need to continue to attract new jobs and protect the ones we have. We have to fix our workers' compensation system, and we will. We need to strengthen our schools and universities. We need to teach the basics well, pass our values on to the next generation, and provide our children with opportunities to learn, to live, and to work in West Virginia. And we will. This is a bold agenda in tough times. I realize that this program will involve some of the most difficult work the West Virginia legislature has been asked to do in a long, long time. We will leave our children a great legacy if we unite for the entire state and place this government on sound footing. The choice is ours. My inspiration and my guide are our West Virginia people. When adversity strikes, they don't whine, they don't hide, they don't run. We have seen it in the towns and rural communities that have bounced back from devastating floods. We have seen it in the courage of our soldiers in the armed forces. We have seen it in the example of our children who took up the challenge, won the promised scholarships, and are earning them as they succeed in college. And we have seen it among our elderly who have built our state to what it is today. We must accept the facts of our situation, take responsibility, make tough decisions, and then move ahead with the compassion, the resolve, and the confidence to do what is right for the people of West Virginia, to rise above partisan politics and build the future that our children deserve. I look forward to working with you, and I thank you for your hard work, your commitment, and your dedication. And I ask God's blessing on this legislature and on the state of West Virginia. Thank you very much.
The House will stand at ease until the recession of the government is ended. At that time, if the other members of the House